Why do I care so much about making better meetings? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I want to pull back the curtain a little bit on why I believe so much in the idea of elevating your events, those meetings, those gatherings, those things where you're either trying to get something done or just bringing people together. I think this is critical. I think this is a deeply human experience. And when it comes to our work, is one that can actually make our work more pleasurable. It can make our work more effective and really, not to make it sound too big, can actually make the world a better place. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to look at 3 really common complaints about meetings. And then I'm going to share with you what we're doing to make meetings better, to elevate your events. And I hope this will help you with whatever meetings you're putting together, any kind of gathering that you can think of, whether it's your weekly sales meeting or it is a conference or a convention, if it's, your book club or any other time when you're getting people together. Well, hey, if we haven't met before, my name is Josh Friberg and I work as a meeting guy. I am sometimes called a transformational Emcee. I help design and facilitate conferences and conventions. And I'm a certified XCHANGE guide. And what we do at XCHANGE is we think about creating deep human connection at speed and scale. And so that's what this channel is all about. If that's interesting to you, would love for you to subscribe and check out some of the other videos that we've been working on. Well, I was doing some research to get ready for this video, and I found 3 really common complaints that come up when they interview like workers, middle management, and executives about meetings and what they think about them. And 65% report that meetings actually keep them from completing their work. And I wonder, what's the point of a meeting? We spend hundreds of thousands of hours each day and week, month in this country in meetings, and yet the meetings are actually hindering people from getting their work done. 64%, 2/3, report that meetings keep them, the meetings happen at the expense of deep thinking, of deep work. So we're actually making our people less effective when we have meetings. And the third thing is 62% say that meetings do not bring the team closer together. So how can we think about this, and what can we do to deal with these real common outcomes, which is that the meetings are ineffective and inefficient because they keep us from completing our work. They don't get us into deep thinking, and they actually don't bring the team closer together. The first, and this is a critical one that happens in the planning stage before you even conduct a meeting. By the way, you should be spending up to, when you think about the whole volume of a meeting, be spending up to 40% of the time preparing for the meeting, thinking about the meeting, right? If you're going to have a 30-minute staff meeting, you should spend 30 to 45 minutes just preparing that meeting. Well, what do we want to do first? First is make the purpose of the meeting the second purpose of the meeting, right? To actually deprioritize whatever the purpose is. One way to think about the purpose of a meeting is think of it as the bait for the meeting. Think of it as like this is the hook to get your people to show up, but the actual purpose of the meeting is just what we've been talking about. Move work progress forward in the meeting. Second purpose of the meeting, get people into deep thinking. Third, bring the team closer together. These are the real purposes of the meeting. And then the second purpose is to review the numbers from the 4th quarter or design the new widget for next year's release, right? Whatever the surface reason for having the meeting is, make that a secondary purpose behind the main thing that you're trying to do, which is let people move forward in their work, bring people together, create connection between people, right? The crazy thing is we have such a negative reaction to this word meeting, and yet what is it? It's when 2 people meet, right? Oh, there's a moment there. There's a possibility there. Well, let's look at these a little more closely. People complain that a meeting keeps them from getting their work done. So why don't we do the work during the meeting? Actually ask them, give them an opportunity to share, this is what I'm working on, this is what I need help moving forward on. Because one of the coolest things that happens in a meeting is that you have a new mind available to people. What does that mean? That's kind of weird sounding. A new mind, right? There's a brain in a jar that we brought to the meeting. It's not that. It's this idea that there is a, like, this is going to sound a little woo, but like a collective consciousness available. That there's actually a mind available in addition to the individual brains that are in the room. Keith Sawyer calls this group genius. Right? And the idea is literally that, and by the way, this doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen automatically. But there's this idea that a group is smarter than the sum of the individuals. Now, that's not always true, right? Because there's also this truth that a mob is only as smart as its dumbest person. And you've seen what that looks like, right? What happens, though, is when we carefully design interaction patterns to release group genius, and we have the proper like framework set up, and we've got the right boundaries for people, we have the right environment set up, all of a sudden there's this wisdom, there's this deep intelligence that's available to us because we've gathered. And so we can help people to actually apply that to their work. Create meetings where people bring their work to the meeting and they actually work on the stuff that they want to make progress on. The second thing that people complain about is there's this big expense of deep thinking. And we know this, and Cal Newport probably put it best in his book Deep Work, where he talks about it often takes 45 minutes or more for people to get into a state of deep work. And so if you're constantly calling people into meetings and they never have a large enough time and space to think deeply, particularly for knowledge workers, they're never going to get there. They're constantly going to be getting pulled out of it and distracted by it. So my next encouragement in your meeting as you design it is literally create space for people to do deep thinking. And so what this can mean is that you give people time, you have a question that's posed to them or a problem that's in front of them, and you create individual space to think on it, to work on it, before you invite people to talk about their ideas. Now, this is particularly true if you've got a mixed group of introverts and extroverts. Why is that? Two reasons, one for each group. Introverts think first, then talk. So you have to give them time to think their ideas before you invite them to voice their ideas. And so what does it look like to pose the question and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put on a little bit of instrumental music, and you're going to have 15 minutes to journal on this, to write down notes on it, to think, just to think. So that's going to be huge how our introverts are going to love that. They're going to love it. Extroverts, remember that they talk in order to think, which means that that oftentimes when they're talking, you're getting a first draft of what they think, but not their final thought, because they haven't figured it out yet. So thinking time will allow them to get their first 1, 2, 3 drafts out so that when they share, it's actually a little more refined. And so this works really well for both groups. Then what we begin to do is we actually invite ideas, and now the ideas are able to stack on top of one another. They're able to build on top of one another. And guess what starts to happen is we actually have a level of deep thinking beyond what we were able to do in isolation. So super important way to elevate your meetings. And then here's the third one is people complain that the structure of the meetings do not bring the teams closer together, which means you don't have trust, you don't have sharing of ideas, and you're leaving resources on the table. Because there's something, of like an institutional wisdom, institutional knowledge that's held in pieces in the different brains within a room. But if there aren't connections made between them, then they can't access them, right? If I don't know that you know more about a topic than I do, right? If I don't know that about you, then I can't come to you and ask for your input, insight, and feedback on what I'm doing. And so one of the great things that we can do is intentionally design parts of our meetings to bring people closer together. Now, people get weird about this. It's like you don't need to know everybody's deepest, darkest secrets, or, where they liked to go, to the lake when they were 8 years old. You don't have to go into all of that stuff. What's more important is actually get into the motivations and the values of the individuals in the room, right? So even if we're talking about, the new widget that we're creating for next year, if I can say to you, hey, Joe, what is important to you? Why are you excited, interested, or motivated in creating this new widget for next year? Well, as soon as we do that, I'm learning more about what's important to Joe, about what Joe's values look like, and how those relate to mine. And there's this human connection that gets created, that now the next time I'm interacting with Joe, I'm able to honor those values. I'm able to help draw those out and create more opportunities for Joe to live into those. There's such a disconnect in our work today that people feel like they're just supposed to come in and punch a clock, that they're just a cog in a machine, but they don't get to actually live out purpose, meaning in their work, right? So we're not able to get to a place of really an elevated state of oh my gosh, the work I do is so important. It's making such a difference in the world. And this is what people really long for, really yearn for, right? When we worry about the machines taking our jobs, yeah, that might be because we're worried about the paychecks, but we're also worried because it's no, I actually derive a lot of meaning and value out of my work. And so when we can bring people together and allow them to express that, our meetings get so much better. Now I'm listening to myself. I know this sounds like woo crazy talk, right? But it's literally how you become more productive. If you're one of those people Josh, bottom line, we got to make more money by the end of the quarter. Great. Then move people into belonging and into purpose and meaning. And guess what? They'll be more productive. The business will be more profitable. These are actually just true things. This is why, and hopefully you're probably hearing this, I care so much about making meetings really awesome. That's why, I kind of called the brand, elevate this event. Elevate your event. Because most of our events aren't elevated, right? They don't elevate people. They don't bring up meaning, value for people. They don't bring up energy, motivation, and action in people. But they can. And if you want help making a better meeting, a meeting that actually helps people complete their work, that gets people into deep thinking, and that brings teams closer together, I'm here to help you, right? And would love to talk with you more about how I could do it. Tell me, if you would, in the comments, what did you find most valuable about this brief video that talks about why we care so much about meetings being great and how we can make meetings better for our people by helping them complete their work, do real deep thinking, and bring their teams closer together.